where today one of just 4 undefeated teams in college football, the UCF Knights at 9-0, take on the Temple Owls at 5-5 on their home field. Mike Cousins, John Kajemi, so glad you're with us today. Each team playing for its own identity today. Will UCF remain undefeated at number 15 in this week's college football playoff rankings, and Temple trying to get win number 6 on senior day to become bowl eligible for the 4th straight year? The Knights led by the hottest name in college coaching circles. That's Scott Frost, the 42-year-old native of Nebraska. The last couple road games have been the closest they've played this year, the only they've won by fewer than 25 points. So on the road again here today, John, but they're confident because of their quarterback.
Their sophomore quarterback, Mackenzie Milton, he has great accuracy down the field throwing the football because he processes off defenses quickly. He can also run the football with efficiency. But on the outside, today, that's the biggest challenge. He's going to have to push the football against the Temple corners and challenge them down the field.
Highest scoring offense in the nation takes on Jeff Collins' Temple team at 5-5. Winners the last 2 weeks with a surging offense after a change at quarterback 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, Temple quarterback now is Frank Newtile, and he adds a spark to the Temple passing game, and it shows on the scoreboard. They're averaging over 30 points a game since naming Newtile their starter, and Frankie Juice, as coach likes to call him, making his 4th career start, so it'll be his biggest challenge to date because of the speed of the Knights defensively.
This is Temple's home turf, though. It's their type of weather today. It's overcast, it's a little chilly. Very different climate from Orlando. Matthew Wright on the kickoff as Temple won the opening toss and elected to receive. Isaiah Wright takes the short kick out across the 30-yard line for the Owls. So we'll see Frank Newtile lead the offense. Logan Marshy down with an injury a few weeks ago. 4th straight start here for the junior out of Wayne, New Jersey.
This is a guy who's a big presence in the pocket at 6'4", 225 pounds. Throws a very catchable ball to the outside. It's his confidence and it's the buy-in of the guys around him that's moving this offense. And he'll have to be efficient throwing the football today from the pocket.
Going up against a very talented defensive line and a very powerful one as well. His first play of the day, an incomplete pass intended for Isaiah Wright. Out by the numbers. So a little chilly today, 52 degrees, but hey, for the week before Thanksgiving, it could be much worse here in the Northeast. Rain expected later this afternoon.
I think it's a great day right now to throw the football. You have that little tack in the air, and I'm sure Frank would like that first throw back. You always want to start a young quarterback with an easy throw, and that was one he missed.
He hands off on 2nd down for David Hood, who wears number 1 this week, going away from his usual jersey number. Number 1 is an honorary jersey given out each week to the player deemed the toughest from last week's game.
And well-deserved. He had a heck of a game last week, and he's learning where to run in this offense, and I think that's the key to Temple's rushing attack today. They can block him pretty well, but you have to have that running back hit the holes with efficiency.
3rd down, 5 yards to go for the Owls here on the game's opening drive. Newtile with a good pocket, tests the middle of the field, and he makes the completion to Adonis Jennings, the senior, for an Owls first down.
Perfect timing in the pass offense on that 3rd down conversion. Good protection, step and fire, on time and on target, and Jennings does the rest.
15 yards to the former Pitt Panther, Adonis Jennings. Tearing up the turf here at the home of the Philadelphia Eagles. Fortunately for the grounds crew, on the road this week with a matchup against Dallas tomorrow night. Hood off to the left side, slips a few tackles, and is finally brought down on the edge.
This Temple offense, Mike, they want to be physical at the point of attack. They want to win at the line of scrimmage, and they want to win on 1st down. If you can be in 2nd and short, 2nd and manageable, that's where Temple, this offense, will thrive today.
So set up a little bit funky here as they give a couple different looks to start the game. Offensive coordinator Dave Patnu just trying to test out and see how UCF will line up. That's the redshirt sophomore, Trayvon Williams.
Looked like Sean Wright was in the Wildcat formation. He hands outside to Williams, and as we talked to them earlier, and that's a 10-yard gain to move the chains, but we talked to them yesterday in this coaching staff. They're going to have a few wrinkles, especially down in the red zone, down in the scoring zone. Watch for some new things or some trick plays out of this Temple offense.
Now they load up in the backfield with the fullback Nick Sharga along with Hood at running back. All to set up the pass. Newtile hit as he throws. Ball popping loose. Never heard a whistle to blow that play dead. So now UCF has the football. The whistle never blew the play dead, and Shaquem Griffin, the linebacker, comes away with it.
Mike, you're exactly right. The Knights on defense kept playing, and Temple offensively didn't. It looked like Newtile threw the football, but he was being harassed. That arm goes forward. I think that's a pass. I think that's going to be an incomplete pass. It looked like Newtile had his right arm going forward when he was hit in the pocket. Good pressure on the inside initially by Griffin, who ended up picking up the would-be fumble. All the white jerseys kept playing, but it did look like Newtile's arm was going forward.
Yeah, I'm with you, John. With that arm coming forward, it would seem to indicate the start of a pass.
He started the right arm going forward. Now, it was negated by pressure, but it looked like initially the arm starts forward, indicating a forward pass.
What the rule book says on this is that it's a pass if the ball comes loose at any point after the hand starts forward until the passer brings his hand back toward his body, which never happened. So it should be ruled as an incomplete pass here, as Tracy Jones, our referee this afternoon here in Philadelphia, gets a look at it on the headset. Well, I shouldn't say gets a look at it, but does get to discuss the play.
That was great hustle by Shaquem Griffin. Running around. First, initially he had the pressure in the pocket up the middle with Garrard, Tony Garrard, the defensive end. But first indications and taking a couple of looks now, it looked like Newtile's arm was moving forward, which should be an incomplete pass. Ball around the 30-yard line with Temple in possession.
And now we've got a decision.
After review, the passer had control of the ball with his arm going forward. Incomplete pass will be 2nd and 10 from the 30-yard line.
Well, the home crowd doesn't like it, but the home crowd apparently has not studied the replay rules for fumbles.
No, we'll take the incompletion. This is what Scott Frost didn't want to see. He didn't want to see Temple have a couple of big plays and get possession deep in the Knights' side of the 50-yard line to start this game.
So Newtile on the offense after a quick scare with new life. Go back to work, 2nd and 10. And Hood is quickly wrapped up. Shaquan Burkett, the redshirt senior inside linebacker, and the team's second leading tackler is there to bring him down.
Mike, there's the team speed of the Knights defensively. Burkett comes from the backside, inside linebacker position, and he's going to two in your screen to the right. He's just going to eyeball the running back and track him the entire way. He had David Hood in his sights before the snap. That's just good instinct by a middle linebacker.
Saw their speed on display last week. Shaquem Griffin, who recovered that non-fumble, went across the field to pick up a sack of UConn quarterback David Pindell after initially missing him the first time.
And that's an interesting call on 3rd and 10. You have a running play up the middle to set up maybe a field goal, but maybe now with 3rd and short to go for it on 4th down.
The lone receiver is Keith Kirkwood to the top of the screen, but here on 4th and 2,
unbalanced to the right side.
The Owls are set up to run.
This may be to try to draw the UCF defense off sides.
Myrick and Robinson, the tight ends, off to the left side. Sharga, the fullback, out of the backfield.
Here comes a timeout by the Owls.
Timeout. Temple, their first charge timeout.
So no payoff on the ploy. Still 4th down and 2 with a Temple timeout early in the first. Fourth down and 2 after the offense was on the field trying to draw UCF offsides. A Temple timeout stops the clock here just about 4 minutes into the first quarter. Frank Newtile, the quarterback, on the sidelines. And Aaron Boumeri, the sophomore kicker from Pennsylvania, is on to try for what would be a season long for him at 39 yards.
And he's been waiting a good 3-4 minutes to have this attempt at the longest, if it's successful, for him this season.
He's got enough leg on it. A side-winding kick, though, is wide to the left. No good for Boumeri, who's now 12 for 19 on the year.
I think that's always a tough situation for a kicker when you're being iced on the sidelines and you come back out, your team's ready to go, but the officials haven't put the ball into play. It's always better to stay on the sidelines, come out in your routine, and kick the ball.
Essentially iced by his own team's timeout.
Yeah, you feel like that. You try to draw the Knights offsides, and that's not successful. You miss a kick, and now you give an opportunity to Mackenzie Milton in that offense to come back in their first opportunity.
The highest scoring group in FBS, just under 49 points a game. They test the secondary early, looking for Traquan Smith down the sidelines, and that pass falls incomplete.
I think that's the game plan for the Knights offensively. Temple and their corners will challenge. They will press. And you're going to have 50-50 opportunities to go up and get the football. And you'd rather go 1 for 3 if you're Mackenzie Milton and find Smith, because that's going to probably make the scoreboard light up a little bit. 6-0, 12-0, plus the tack on the conversions.
And off here for Killens, one of the quicker running backs you'll see in college football. And a flag as he's brought to the ground.
And a clear face mask on the play.
Linebacker Sam Franklin, the sophomore from Florida.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 36, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I know you want to be aggressive. It's senior day. You come out, you want to play well, but the sophomore from Crystal River, Florida, you can't do that. Might be both ways, to be honest with you.
That's the Hammurabi of defensive plays, a face mask for a face mask.
That's right
there. Hammurabi's code.
That could have been called either way on that play.
From an empty backfield to a 4-receiver set. And a jump on the front of the line. And that's on Greg Webb.
Offense, number 79, 5-yard penalty, first down.
One of the things that UCF want to clean up are the false starts, the holding calls from last week in their home victory against UConn. Scott Frost said that's one of the things we want to make sure we clean up, so that offensive line needs to stay away from 1st and 15, 1st and 20 with self-imposed penalties.
Backed up here, another handoff for Killens, who follows his blockers before he's smothered into the turf right along the sideline.
Killens, he's a game changer. Didn't play a whole lot last week, but if he gets a crease, he's going to make one cut with that vision, and you're going to be watching the back of number 9.
And John, he's not a very big guy, but he needs just 1 or 2 holes to be able to break a game wide open.
You're right, and he's going to try to find those creases against a very tough front 7 for Temple. They rotate a lot of guys against Adrian Killens and against quarterback Mackenzie Milton. You're going to have to convert if you're not successful on 1st and 2nd down, 3rd and long.
3-man front, perfect time for the quarterback to take off, but he's tripped up short of the 1st down marker by just about a yard.
That offense is going to stay on the field. They may run tempo here on 4th down.
Early aggression on the road from one of 4 undefeated teams in college football. They're confident.
They didn't get it.
But they can't be confident about the spot on that ball because it's a turnover on downs. They come up short right near midfield.
great penetration by the defensive front of Temple. UCF tries to go with tempo, but a crease closes very quickly. What a great job by Julian Taylor fighting off a block up front and then finding the ball carrier, Adrian Killens. Great field position now after that fourth down gamble by Scott Frost and his offense for the Temple offense.
I wonder how he's feeling right now. You come into this game 9-0. Things are going great, but
I wouldn't be surprised if Temple comes out a little play action and tries to get a shot here on first down. Sudden change offense.
5 defenders along the line of scrimmage. 4 of them rush against Newtile. They say he's not the best runner in the world, but he finds his lanes well, and when he does, he's able to make something out of nothing.
Well, I think he's smart with the football, not only throwing it, but when he has to tuck it and run, he knows his limitations. He's not going to burn 15, 20-yard runs, but 4 or 5 yards on first down, pretty good situation as Temple goes again to that Wildcat formation.
So Isaiah Wright is in the backfield to take the snap, along with Trayvon Williams.
Mike, remember they tried to do this a couple of months ago, maybe a month and a half ago against Houston here at home.
It's Wright on the move. He can throw as well. He's set up. The southpaw slings it into double coverage, and the pass is nearly intercepted. Kirkwood, the intended receiver, had a bit of a shove there to help save that play.
Well, that could have been offensive pass interference. That was a smart play by Keith Kirkwood, and not a very good decision by Isaiah Wright. He had an open receiver about 5 yards from the boundary, decides to throw into double coverage, and the push by Kirkwood to the back of Trey Neal prevents the interception.
The open receiver was Newtile, the quarterback.
That's a catch and fall down for a first down.
So back to a regular setup, and it's Raquel Armstead who gets his first carry of the day. His tumble is initially marked just short, about a half-yard shy of a first down. And he's been banged up, only played the first quarter last week, and that win over Cincinnati has led to a bigger workload for David Hood as they've just tried to manage their running back situation with only 2 healthy scholarship backs at this point.
And the offense is going to stay on the field again for head coach Jeff Collins. I think this time it's not going to be a snap count situation. They're going to run a play and go for it here on fourth down.
A trio of 300-pound-plus defensive linemen pushing against Temple's front. Armstead slicing through the defense, does get the fourth down conversion to move the chains.
Armstead going through battling injuries all season long. Gets a good burst on third down, and then on fourth down knows he needs to square up those shoulders and get north and south to stay on the field.
Great block out in front from Nick Sharga, the fullback. Sets up first down and 10. Newtile had his pass tipped and incomplete. Going behind Isaiah Wright. Shaquan Burkett got a hand on it.
Good pressure. We've seen Burkett track a running back in the running game. This time he's going to be able to get in the passing lane after the zone read fake. Just gets that right hand up, tips the football away on first down.
Active linebackers, active defensive line. Offensive coordinator Dave Patnud said this is the best defensive front they've seen other than Notre Dame this year. Case in point right there as they swallow up Armstead.
Mike, they're just hard to move. You've got Pittman, Hill, and Garrard all going at 300 plus, and you've got Burkett, Jasinski, and Griffin and Davis, the beneficiary of all that weight up front because they can clean up with their tackles. 55 for the season for Burkett, the sacks, quarterback pressures. You get active linebackers behind those big 3 offensive or defensive linemen.
What the Temple staff says is so difficult. It's not just that they're 300-pounders.
They can move.
They can get off of the blocks as well. Newtile, 3rd and 9, stands tall and delivers down to the 25-yard line for Adonis Jennings.
I think they're going to be about a half a yard to a yard short here. This could be another fourth down opportunity for Temple to keep that offense on the field.
I don't know what you thought, John. It didn't appear to be a very favorable spot on that.
It looked like the knee touched clearly before the 25-yard line on the replay I just saw on the big board, Mike. So it looked like a decent spot on third down.
Sharga, the fullback, onto the field with Newtile. They've got to get down to the 25. 1 yard to get. And another attempt at fourth down. And their second timeout of the first quarter.
Second charge timeout.
A missed field goal prevented them from getting on the board the first time. And they'll talk it over here.
ESPN College Football is presented by Vizio, maker of award-winning 4K displays, and in part by Sam Adams. Fill your glass.
Senior day for Temple here in Philadelphia. Action-packed first quarter already. Another fourth down opportunity. Isaiah Wright, the wide receiver, is lined up, set to take the snap here on fourth down and 1. Wright just takes it off to the left side with a good push behind him in the pile. A first down for Temple.
Get it to your playmakers, and Isaiah Wright, one of those guys that Temple wants to feed the football to. That was the 16th play run by the Temple Owls, 13 of them in UCF territory. So this is a team that needs to capitalize and get points out of this drive.
That was already the third fourth down attempt in this game with fewer than 10 minutes gone by. So both teams coming out aggressive today. And with Newtile at quarterback, his fourth career start today, this offense has seen a big jump in production. He floats it to Armstead, who floats over a defender inside the 20-yard line.
I don't know, Mike. Armstead looks pretty healthy to me today. He's had some nice runs in between the tackles and then elusive on the outside. High stepping around the tackle by Trey Neal for positive yards on first down. 6 yards on first down for Armstead.
Best for the offense to have its leading rusher on the year out there for as many snaps as possible. Newtile, the accounting major, has his pass fall incomplete. A couple of receivers on the route. Kenny Yeboah, the tight end, unable to bring it in.
You just feel watching early in this game, Temple's it's been a tilted field for them. They've been on the UCF side of the 50, and you look at the scoreboard and it shows double zeros. You have to be able to come away with points to reward yourself for the play that you've had early in this game.
And to be able to, if history is any indicator, keep pace with the top scoring team in the country at 49 points a game for UCF. Short pass, third down, and it's off the hands of Isaiah Wright. Another fourth down. He took a hit there from the safety, Kyle Gibson.
UCF on defense, very good up the middle. Gibson and Neal at safety. This ball needs to be on the shoulder pads of Isaiah Wright. Never want to expose your guys going over the middle when you have to face Gibson and Neal on second and third down. So that ball needs to come down to make it easier on the athletes on the outside as Bumeri has his second attempt of the young game.
And a high degree of difficulty for his first two kicks. One on the left hash and this one on the opposite hash. First kick was wide. This one is true. Temple strikes first. 3-0 the lead. Scott Frost, his team undeterred. They get the ball when we come back. Lots of noon college football action. You can find it all on the ESPN app in the American, Memphis, and SMU going head-to-head right now on ESPN News. Miami and Virginia on ABC. You can stream every ESPN and ABC college football game live at home or on the go. Scores, news, and highlights. You can download the ESPN app to start streaming now. Mike Cousins and John Congemi with you here from Philadelphia, where Temple has taken a 3-0 lead over UCF. Aaron Boumeri nailing that field goal to get the Owls on the board. Mike Hughes is back deep. Wobbler picked up at the 20. He's got Boumeri to beat. And he stymies the return up the sideline. Nicely done to keep a big play in check. Last year, these two teams had this game come down to the wire. 31 seconds left on the clock. Philip Walker, Temple's quarterback, on this drive, 4 passes, 70 yards. And it all ended with Keith Kirkwood. A second to go, back of the end zone, and the game winner. Temple comes away with a 26-25 victory. And you can be sure that even though UCF is as good as it is this year, they have not forgotten. There's a lot of room to cover for not a lot of gain for Adrian Killens.
Sean Bradley had to come a long way to find Adrian Killens, and you can see the speed on the outside. He didn't gain much, may have lost a yard on the play.
So 3:45 and counting left here in the first for this prolific offense. It's been hard to hold them off the board at any point this year. Anderson makes the catch, coming off a huge week last week against UConn. 2 rushing touchdowns, and the freshman from Jacksonville was the team's leading rusher last week.
He did a little bit of everything in that offense last week in that home victory against UConn, and he'll have to play a big role today on 3rd down as he's to the right of Mackenzie Milton.
Temple sideline is juiced for this 3rd down play. An open receiver, it's Smith, who makes the catch for the first down, UCF.
What a smart heads-up play by Mackenzie Milton, getting the ball out to Smith. That was going to be a shovel pass to Otis Anderson, but he decides it's covered. I have to go outside, and that's plan B, and it works to perfection.
He makes such quick reads, like that one to Gabriel Davis, coming off a career-high 8 catches against Connecticut.
Mikey processes information quickly. He's able to get and eliminate where he wants to go with the football pre-snap. And that makes his job easier once he gets the football.
Fakes the pitch, now makes the pitch. Flag down on the play, up the sideline. And the play finally terminated by Chandler, who pushes Anderson out of bounds. But this one might come back on holding. Run of 26 as it stands now.
Offside, defense, number 6. Penalties declined. Result of the play, first down.
Whoa, so Sharif Finch is the aggressor for Temple.
We talked about Otis Anderson playing a big role. Watch the double pitch move on the outside by Milton. He freezes the defensive end and linebackers just enough for Anderson to get to the outside and make a big play there. Now the Knights inside the 5.
Anderson right side, and he gets stood up as he gets forward progress to the 4. It's interesting to hear the coaches talk about Anderson. You ask, well, what position is he in? They say, well, wherever he's lined up on that snap, he's a receiver, he's a running back, whatever we need him to be.
He may be a decoy on this play because I think Mackenzie Milton may run that zone read and keep it himself at quarterback.
Milton does keep it, and he's into the end zone. You play the lotto, John Congemi?
I wish I was that good at the lotto.
I need your skills of premonition.
You get a big play from Otis Anderson, and this is where you can't account for the quarterback on most times when you're in the red zone. You get a guy like Finch who's playing defensive end. He's kind of in limbo. You fake the pass with the pump fake. Milton tucks it underneath that right arm and gets into the end zone for 6.
And now they're set up here. Loudermilk, who's the holder, is also the punter, former high school quarterback, so he can throw it. He's thrown a 2-point conversion this year, just testing out the look. Now normal setup right for the extra point. He's got it, true to form. UCF not held scoreless in the first. Rushing touchdown, Mackenzie Milton. What's that you bring? 6 points. You are a true friend of the crown, quarterback. Dilly Dilly. You're watching the American Athletic Conference on ESPN. Here from Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. You will not find a more loose group of football players than the UCF Knights.
You know, they're having fun, but they know when to lock in and pay attention and focus on the job at hand. And that's exactly what Mackenzie Milton and Otis Anderson and the rest of that offense did. The defense did their part by only allowing 3 points to Temple, who's run 20-plus plays already in this first quarter. And now UCF, with ease, a couple of explosive plays, take the lead 7-3.
Another short kickoff there from Wright. So taking a little bit of a gamble, I suppose, but it sets up Temple with good field position on the return from Dana Levine. Tonight, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. Number 11, USC hosting UCLA at the Coliseum. A couple great future first-round quarterbacks in action. Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold, with the Trojans looking to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. You can see it on ABC, also streaming live on the ESPN app.
The 88th year of the Crosstown Showdown. Two really good quarterbacks that should go in the first round, I would think, in next spring's draft.
Newtile stuffs it for Hood. Around the edge for a pickup of 2, maybe 3. For the running back out of Galloway, New Jersey.
We just get the feeling that Temple's worked so hard in this first quarter to get 3 points, and the Knights have 1-2 explosive plays on offense, and they're able to take the lead. Frank Newtile needs to stay on the field with this offense in this possession.
Now they flip the field, go back the other way. A broken tackle and into UCF territory. It takes a host of Knights to bring down Hood. 31 yards on the run.
What a great effort and good execution up front. A hat on the hat by that offensive line, and Hood's able to withstand a couple of big hits and arm tackles to go 31 yards down the field and again get that football in the Knights side of the 30-yard line.
He's already got his eyes on perhaps his third 100-yard game of the season. He had 106 against ECU earlier in the year. Last week, a career-high 108 against Cincinnati. They keep feeding the backfield, but the turf gives out underneath cleats for a short gain. First quarter winding down just inside of 30 seconds for Newtile, Hood, and the Owls, who at least right now feel like they should have 6 points.
Well, I think they don't want to settle. This is one of those drives where you don't want to settle for a field goal opportunity heading into the second quarter. You want to regain the lead right now with your offense.
2nd and 10, blitz coming from the backside, and a throw to the end zone. Pass incomplete.
You know, and the back judge actually fell down in the end zone, and he may have missed some contact in the back end.
End of the first quarter.
Well, he and the teams are going to get a breather with 15 minutes in the books.
You talked about the bad turf here, Mike. I think the official may have caught some in that Temple end zone, but UCF, one big drive in this first quarter, and they take a 4-point lead.
Scott Frost, the boss at UCF. Jeff Collins, former recruiting coordinator there in 08 and 09, now head-to-head this afternoon in Philadelphia. Temple down by 4. They're on the move deep in UCF territory. A 3rd down and 10 for Frank Newtile in the 4th start of his career at quarterback.
Protect the football. Don't take a sack here on 3rd and long. That's what you have to have in your mindset as a quarterback.
He gets away a quick throw, a little bit behind his target, as Wright makes the catch and stretches. He didn't need to. It was a first down anyway. But the ball is all the way down to the 9-yard line as they get 15 yards on 3rd and 10.
And Mike, maybe third on that list, get the football to one of your playmakers, and that's Isaiah Wright. Whether he's been lining up in the Wildcat formation or catching the football at wide receiver, he's been dependable and will make plays offensively for the Owls.
They've got a reliable quarterback in there as well who comes from a program of success, New Jersey's Don Bosco High School. He's a 2-time state champion. Not a lot of juice for Frankie Juice, and the Owls there on first down. That's the nickname given to him by Jeff Collins back in spring ball. He said, you know what, this is going to take off, I promise you. And Newtile says it didn't really take off until his teammate defensive end Jacob Martin would sneak behind him during media sessions and go, Frankie Juice, Frankie Juice. And then all of a sudden everybody started learning it.
It sounded like in talking with Frank yesterday that he's a humble guy, so I'm sure that was one he wanted to keep under wraps in the beginning.
Good friends, good teammates. Nowhere to go off to his left. Now to the back of the end zone. Feet down. Catch made. Touchdown. Keith Kirkwood. And Temple leaps in front.
Kirkwood had a game winner last year. Early in this game, he's going to take the lead on this 9-yard touchdown pass. What patience and poise and touch on the football displayed by Frank Newtile there. He could have rattled, he could have thrown that football away, but he bought time for Kirkwood to find room in the back of the end zone for 6.
And Newtile may not be Fred Astaire with the footwork in the pocket, but he does enough to keep the play alive and get it to Kirkwood, who's got his 5th touchdown catch of the year. He was big in this matchup last year as well. It was a 1-point win for Temple because of this catch with 1 second to go. Just about the exact same spot in the end zone.
Different state, same spot in the end zone, you're right. Just a terrific job of concentration last year and this year, finding some space when it's tough to find in the red zone, especially when you're inside the 5-yard line. Goes up and makes another big play in his career. He's made a lot of big plays for 14 touchdowns.
Notice he changed his jersey number this year as well. Single digits are a badge of honor at Temple. Number 5 also was his head coach Jeff Collins' jersey when he was a player at Western Carolina.
Makes you look a little slender too as a wideout, I would think.
You just see the 80s and you think, tight end?
Now he looks good in 5 and he's producing, and now it's time for special teams and Mike Hughes to get an opportunity. He found some running room on special teams the first attempt.
Both of these sidelines pretty hyper today. From the 10-yard line, both teams shorter kickoffs today. Richie Grant on the return. Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper Championship Drive update. Alabama, understandably so, up 28-0 over Mercer, but whoa, Miami, number 3, down against Virginia, 14-6.
I think you give it time if you're Miami. Couple big weeks. Couple of big victories for the Canes over Virginia Tech and Notre Dame, and Wisconsin with the 10-0 lead, with the lead 7-0 over Michigan.
We've got another unbeaten team here on this field as UCF. Deep throw right into the hands of Traquan Smith. Mackenzie Milton, one of the most accurate passers in college football, throws a dime.
Give your playmakers an opportunity. Great protection in the pocket for Milton, and he allows Traquan Smith to climb the ladder and go up and take it away.
In film study, UCF coaches saw that they were going to get press coverage, but felt like their speed would be able to beat the cornerbacks of Temple. So far, so good.
50-50 opportunities. That's where they have to win on the outside.
Milton doesn't like his 5 choices. He takes off and slides into the Temple sideline. Pretty capable rusher as well for Milton, the sophomore originally from Hawaii, who enters play today with 350 rushing yards.
Well, he's quick, and he has enough speed, enough foot speed to get outside and run away from defensive ends and linebackers, and gives you enough in the running game that you have to pay attention if you're on defense.
Big pressure. The screen goes for Killens, who's got the speed to scramble, but with a short field, he's got nowhere to go. Chandler escorts him out.
That's great recognition up front, too. Freddie Booth Lloyd, big number 99. He weighs 325 pounds, and he's able to get off of rushing the quarterback in Mackenzie Milton, sees the screen, and helps Sean Chandler chase Killens to the sidelines.
Corners pressed up against the outside receivers. Back shoulder throw is perfectly put on target to Marlon Williams.
One of the big things that the coaching staff, offensive coaches for UCF, told us yesterday, it seems like Temple, they want to take away the short passes, but they don't locate the football quickly enough on the outside. That'll open up those back shoulder throws.
Now Milton's got all day to run and let this play get set up.
That might be a catch.
It's Smith on the sideline, and they give him that catch.
Completed pass for first down.
I'm not so sure if Smith was out of bounds before he was able to attempt this unbelievable catch.
The receiver was forced out of bounds by the defense, reestablished, and completed the pass for first down.
That catch is going to stand. What a great effort to climb the ladder with his left hand. Have the concentration and the presence to get that left foot in.
Milton with the shovel to the edge for Snelson for 6.
There's the quickness of UCF in their offense and the way they can strike. So dangerous with the quarterback out on the island. Can run, can throw it, can pitch it to Snelson on the outside, who's made multiple big plays for this offense this season. 6 plays, 74 yards, and only 2 minutes and 12 seconds off the clock.
That's going to be something I think we keep an eye on as the game goes on, is how Temple, when they have the ball, is able to control the clock and perhaps shorten this game.
What an athletic play by Traquan Smith. Able to fight off the defender, climb the ladder, snag it with the left hand, and lead the Knights into the end zone.
Another quick strike drive by UCF. They're up 14-10 over Temple. This is the second straight baseball theme celebration we've seen. Last week, after a 69-yard punt, Hunter Mac Loudermilk,
that's right,
for UCF had not only one but 2 home run swings in his punt celebration.
Well, not only Snelson goes yard, but Jordan Williams on the sideline looked like he went yard. 6 plays, 74 yards, only 2:12 off the clock for the Knights in that offense that are averaging close to 50 points a game.
Inside the 5, here comes Isaiah Wright. And a flag down coming from the backside of the play, thrown by referee Tracy Jones. Runner was down, the officials say, at the end of the play.
Personal foul, targeting, receiving team, number 51. That play is under review.
All right, so we'll get a second look at this along with you. See exactly where that penalty flag came in.
Kind of an odd call on the receiving team.
I don't know that we've had a targeting call on a kickoff return. this year.
Dana Levine, the linebacker playing special teams for Temple, called for the personal foul and targeting. That's a first for me. There was a big pileup around the 20 or 25-yard line. See 51 in black. That was the number that was given. I think it's close to the 30-yard line. Tough one to spot on the replay.
But the way that the rule is written, you understand how a flag gets thrown, because the rule says when in question it's a foul. So if there's any doubt, the flag's going to come in.
Well, there was no hesitation in the call. The refs are going to have a tough time going back and trying to filter through where this occurs. It looked like Levine made contact above the shoulders. I'm not so sure that he launched. You're looking for all those indicators, not only on offense, defense, but on special teams.
After review, ruling on the field of targeting number 51 is confirmed. We penalize after distance to the goal line. Number 51 is disqualified.
So Levine is out of the game. It was tough for us to pick up when it happened live and then on replay, but the officials had enough evidence to have the targeting foul upheld, and Levine's going to go to the locker room. 27-yard line at the numbers on top. That's the end of the play. Right there. But it's tough to see from that replay what the official saw initially on the return.
Nevertheless, Temple ball, 1st and 10. Back at the 13-yard line. That run quickly upended by Shaquan Burkett, the inside linebacker, who's been pretty active so far here through the first quarter and change.
And Mike, this could be a turning point in this game for the Knights defensively. If they can force a 3-and-out and have a short field to work on with their quick score offense, they could be in great position to take control of this game. So Temple desperately wants to get that very first down of this drive.
And don't let the offense discount what the defense has done this year as well. And there it is, an interception over the middle. Pat Jasinski leaping in front of the new tile pass. Gets the takeaway.
Jasinski with his first interception of the season, reading the eyes of the young quarterback the entire way. He's just going to drop in a zone coverage, go to his left, and read Newtile. Great athleticism and anticipation by Jasinski, who leads this team in tackles, gets his first interception, and that's the field position we were just discussing. The defense setting up the offense close to the 20-yard line.
So a very short field here, just on the doorstep of the red zone of the 21 for Milton and the Knights.
This is where you take a shot up top, maybe.
Instead, it's Anderson, the freshman from Jacksonville, gets swallowed up and sent backwards for a few.
As we take a look at Jasinski celebrating with his teammates on the sideline, I think if this offense and Mackenzie Milton, if they get press coverage again on the outside to Marlon Williams, short side of the field, I think they attack outside.
Anderson comes back into the backfield. Snelson, who had the touchdown run on the last drive, circles back between the hashes. A 3rd and long upcoming. And there is a flag down from the near side.
Legal shift. Offense. 2 players moving and not resetting. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down. Correction, that penalty will be declined. The result of the play, 3rd down.
That's a good call by head coach Jeff Collins. Declined the penalty. You forced a negative play. Now you set up a third and very long for Milton and company on offense.
Third downs this year, 46% for UCF, 22nd best in the country. Can they get it done near the goal line here? Wide open running room for Milton, who goes headlong for an easy first down. That was too easy.
When you have man coverage and the front four don't get home, you get a quarterback that can run, and 16 yards later, he's inside the 10-yard line. That's just good awareness again by Milton. He goes for 15 yards on that run, but he's still inside the 10 and in great scoring position for the Knights offensively.
He fakes the give, now drops it off Anderson with speed, untouched to the pylon. Touchdown UCF.
Two guys that can do it all. Mackenzie Milton at quarterback and Otis Anderson at running back / wide receiver. Take advantage of the Jasinski interception, and just too easy on the outside. That's just leverage and speed to the front pylon for Otis Anderson.
Can we give him a new title? Can we go with either running receiver or receiving back?
Athlete, I don't know.
Just put it all together.
Whatever label we're going to give him, he does them all well. He can catch it, he can run it, and they take advantage of a short field and push the lead to 21-10. This is an offense that can score.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Aleve Direct Therapy. Get drug-free, deep-penetrating lower back pain relief.
It's been a one-sided battle on the field. On the sideline, perhaps a different story, with yet another celebration drawn up by the UCF Knights as they lead Temple on its home turf 21-10 with 9:20 left before halftime. Mike Cousins and John Congemi, glad you're with us today as UCF has jumped up to number 15 in the college football playoff rankings this week, on track right now for a New Year's Six bowl game, perhaps a Peach Bowl appearance this year for the Knights. And a win today for Temple goes a long way, gets them to bowl eligibility for the 4th straight year. Now, UCF fans, they don't know who they're going to get necessarily if they do end up in a New Year's Six bowl, but right now they're just thinking about the University of Miami, looking for Florida supremacy. Although Miami right now is into the ACC title game, trailing 14-7 against Virginia. UCF, the highest ranked school in the group of 5. Off to the best start in school history. USF setting up for a big game Thanksgiving weekend. Tough season for Florida State, although with 3 straight wins, they can finish at 6-6. Florida looking for a new head coach. Perhaps he's here today. Time will tell. And then FAU, 39 points a game for that squad. Top 10 score in the country for the Owls and Lane Kiffin.
Everybody jumping on the Lane train down in South Florida.
Pass was forward, incomplete pass, second down.
Brendan Hayes gets that right hand on the football, and Frankie Newtown needs to settle down in this football game, the Temple Owls quarterback, and get a first down. They have to find a way to keep this offense on the field because Hayes and Jasinski and Burkett and Gibson and Neal, they've all made plays on the football at one point today.
Ball comes loose, and UCF falls on top of it. Griffin forced the fumble.
Penetration, 2 consecutive drives where the defense forced turnovers. Shaquem Griffin comes inside, gets a hand on the football, does a great job of jarring it loose in the backfield away from Armstead. And Titus Davis, the recipient of that forced fumble, jumps on the football around the 23-yard line. So the defense in consecutive stands, force turnovers, and give this offense excellent field position.
John, it's 2 turnovers in the last 4 plays for the Owls. Milton had his eyes on the end zone. Throws that one too tall for the running back, Taj Miguel. Shaquem Griffin, you'll notice he's a little bit different than his teammates. He doesn't have his left hand. He was born with amniotic band syndrome wrapped around him in the womb, and so he had his left hand amputated at 4 years old. That has not stopped him from being one of the best college football players in the country. We met with him yesterday night, and his infection for life, for football, his teammates, is contagious. His enthusiasm is contagious.
He was one of the greatest young men I've ever got a chance to sit down and talk to. Not only did he look you in the eye and gauge the entire room, but no is not in his vocabulary. Can't is not in his vocabulary. There's only will, and it's infectious, I think, to the defense, to the entire team, the inspiration that he provides as a player for Central Florida.
Temple gets the pressure at once, and the result at once. An incomplete pass along the sideline, and now it's 4th and 15.
So the big turnover defensively that gives Mackenzie Milton and company excellent field position right now, resulting in an opportunity at 3 points. Good stand by Temple and their defense, because that's a back-breaking opportunity if UCF can go in and get 6 there on that drive.
A 44-yard try, and he's got it. This offense can score from anywhere. They capitalize on yet another turnover. They drink it all in, a 2-touchdown lead. Clemson, Miami, Oklahoma, which goes to Kansas, but as a 38-point favorite, the only road team in the top 10 this week. Reese and the guys will break it down on the ESPN app as well. Now we'll see now what Temple can do here. It's Hood going to come loose, but he was down. Trey Neal in there to help knock him down. With Newtile at quarterback, their offense has surged, as we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast today. He's thrown for more than 200 yards in all 3 of his starts. They've scored more points with him back there. He's a smart guy, taking over for Logan Marshy, the accounting major, 3.7 GPA, and a guy who was prepared for this spot because he prepared like he was going to be a starter every week since he's gotten here. He steps up into a deep throw over the top of double coverage. Incomplete, but a flag is thrown at the end of the play. 2.
Pass interference, defense, number 23, automatic first down.
That's on the safety, Trey Neal for UCF.
It looked like Adonis Jennings was trying to come back for the football over the top of Trey Neal. The ball slightly underthrown. Great effort by Jennings, and I think the argument from Trey Neal was, it's not my fault that the quarterback threw the ball behind, but it's going to go for 15 yards.
So you think he's got a legitimate case?
I do. I think he was trying to locate the football, and Adonis Jennings really initiated the contact.
Now they fake the pass, and then there comes Griffin. It's right back to the line of scrimmage for Newtile. He's found himself in the backfield quite a bit today.
Another play made by Griffin behind the line of scrimmage, and let's credit Davis and the cornerback play. There's no window for Newtile to deliver this quick slant because Titus Davis got into the throwing lane, made the quarterback hold the football, and allowed Shaquem Griffin to make that play.
One safety deep
False
here.
start, offense, number 19, 5-yard penalty, second down.
I got to give it to Tracy Jones, the referee today. He is the fastest on the mic that we've seen this year.
He's been clean and efficient. And there goes some push-ups on the sidelines for a mistake.
Second down, 15. Nutile with time again. Jasinski, who had the interception earlier, breaks up the pass.
Well, I'm surprised there wasn't a flag for interference there. It looked like Jasinski was there a good second before the ball arrived. There was contact right through the back of the receiver well before the ball gets there, and I'm surprised that's not pass interference.
You're able to fairly evaluate both sides. You defend the secondary, and now you go after the linebacker.
Normally I'd be pro offense, but
third down 15. Three-man rush, pressure from the backside. Nutile bullets it down the sideline, and it tumbles away, incomplete. So fourth down as he was looking for Jennings and scrambling for existence.
Mike, I think the big change in this game is the offensive line for Temple has lost control of the front seven for the Knights defensively. They were able to move them off the ball, get some running, have some protection, but the last 8 plays, not one positive play and 2 turnovers. I think the offensive line has lost control of the game for Temple up front.
It's been a lot of rotation along the offensive line for Temple this year. You get to this point in the season, nobody's perfectly healthy, but that's certainly been a spot of concern for the Owls as they go up against just one of 4 unbeaten teams left in the country. And this is maybe one of the bigger tests this week for an undefeated team, because you've got Alabama taking on Mercer today, looking to go to 11-0. Where they've got the Iron Bowl to finish out the season. Miami taking a threat from Virginia right now, but they've come back to even it up at 14. And Wisconsin puts its undefeated record on the line against 24th ranked Michigan. UCF with this one. They want to win. They feel like they're going to win, and they're in position right now. But the biggest game on their schedule, at least from a national perspective, is next week against USF in the season finale. Powerful burst through the middle on first down for Killens.
In the past couple of weeks, UCF hasn't had to rely on Adrian Killens to provide that big play. There have been guys around at wide receiver, at running back, and especially at quarterback to fill in the gap.
Now he gets a big gap off to the right side, turns it back at midfield, and then tumbles turfward with a nice tackle by Benny Walls, but he goes for 13.
Give Adrian Killens a little bit of a crease, and he's going to be able to get to that second level. And he was one player away from heading north and south into the end zone. 27 yards on 7 attempts so far this afternoon.
And they just keep giving it to him. A couple big blockers in front. You know what might be a little bit difficult for him is how fast he is, letting those plays develop sometimes.
Well, he's a one-cut runner. He's able to find the hole with great vision, and then he's able with that speed to get to the back end of the hole.
He's the chef's knife of running. One cut and you're done.
That's right.
Jordan Franks, the tight end, has his 9th catch of the year. A real versatile guy who's played linebacker, wide receiver, finding a home at tight end. Number 15 gets 15.
And here's the tempo and rhythm from the UCF offense.
Melted under pressure. Floats it too tall for Franks.
I guarantee you when Mackenzie Milton let that football go, he thought that was 6 points, and he was shocked when he got off the ground that it wasn't. You have these plays as a quarterback, you're sitting in the pocket, and you know you're going to take the hit, but you know you're going to be able to reap the benefit. And he just tried to throw that football past 2 defenders under duress from Todd Jones.
And a rare time today where Temple has gotten pressure on Milton in the backfield. Brings up third down. Sam Franklin providing that attack.
Those are the mistakes that kill drives. We saw it last week for UCF, a bad snap in shotgun that allowed UConn to gain some field position defensively, and now on money down for the Owls defensively, UCF must convert a 3rd and 14.
Milton against a 3-man rush, tries to escape, but he can't get away. Sharif Finch 6.5 sacks, puts him in the team lead. A huge third down stop for the Owls.
We were talking earlier in this game with Roche, Martin, and Finch combining for 17.5 sacks. Make it 18.5 because on 3rd and long, Sharif Finch is able to win the battle outside against Wyatt Miller and find Mackenzie Milton for the sack.
Big play. Here's Loudermilk, linebacker-sized punter at 6'1", 234. Scott Frost loves this guy. He says he's just an athlete who's found a home at punter, and he gets it away. First punt of the afternoon for UCF. Boy, if every week a head coach could say, I've got it at 3:14 left, that'd be good. Baseball last week, golf this week. Spot on that one. You are on the green, Mr. Loudermilk. All right, resident golf expert, what's Mac Loudermilk swinging here?
Well, you know what? Once he has his first punt of the afternoon, he grabs the 7-iron. He's got the green in his sights. I love the club flip at the end. This is going to be new. This is like extreme golf. I mean, Mac can be on my team anytime.
Temple takes over here after the punt. Newtile on the run, throws into traffic, and he's picked off for the second time today. Scoring opportunity for UCF. They're set up with great field position inside the 10. Interception, his team leading 4th for Kyle Gibson.
You cannot turn the football over and give UCF instant field position, especially deep in your own end. And this ball just seems to be forced. Kyle Gibson in better position. 3rd turnover, all inside the 25-yard line. This is an opportunity for UCF to really take Temple and take the steam out of their sideline, their offense, their defense, and special teams by getting a touchdown here. Excellent field position inside the 5.
It's Anderson in the backfield, who ran for a couple of scores last week. Instead, they go to the air. The pass and the stretch to the goal line is just short. The true freshman Gabriel Davis making the catch.
Boy, that was a great effort on the outside by Davis. I'm surprised it looked like a touchdown initially. I don't think his knee hit. It looked like the ball broke the plane with that effort.
And now it looks like we're going to get a replay review.
The ruling on the field, the short of goal line, that play is under review.
Initially, Mike, I didn't think the knee hit on the outside. It's just a quick throw to the outside by Milton. And it looks like the extension breaks the plane before the bottom half of Gabriel Davis's legs hit the ground around the 1-yard line. Take a look at the right knee. It never hits the ground nor the left as the ball breaks the plane of the goal line. I think that's a touchdown.
Right, he's got maybe the hand on the ground, but the hand does not signify the end of the play. It's got to be a body part other than a hand or a foot to make the run officially concluded.
It's a good effort on the outside by Crump, the corner, but it wasn't good enough, in my opinion, to keep Davis out of the end zone. It's just a supreme effort by a freshman wide receiver who wants to get into the end zone.
Thought he might find pay dirt last week, a career-high 8 catches in that 49-24 win over UConn. Let's see if he gets his first touchdown.
After review, the runner crossed the plane of the goal line in possession without his knee touching. Touchdown.
UCF makes him pay. After Temple's 3rd turnover in 9 offensive plays, it turned into 6 going the other way.
That's going to make Scott Frost and company breathe a lot easier on their sideline because this team is rolling. The defense is teeing up the offense, and Mackenzie Milton, 11 of 15, making him pay on that little wide receiver screen to Davis for 6.
11 for 15. He's so accurate. He started out 9 for 10 today. 3rd best completion percentage in all of college football. only behind perhaps the Heisman winner, still early, but Baker Mayfield and Nick Shimonek of Texas Tech. That's why he can be so accurate, I think, because he doesn't have to make exceptionally difficult throws with the great teammates he has around him.
Well, it's pitch and catch on the outside, and you get turnovers and points off of turnovers. That's what good teams do. So 3 turnovers, it turns into 17 points for the Knights. And this is an offense that can score quickly from anywhere on the field. And if you tee them up inside the 20, 30-yard line, they're going to score with regularity.
He's a fan of the winter hat. He was wearing one yesterday when we met with him and his teammate Shaquem Griffin at their hotel last night. This ain't Orlando weather, but you know what? It's not bad either for Philadelphia in November. Seems like last week that Temple had the lead in this game. After getting the field goal, UCF scoring the touchdown, Temple taking the lead, and now 31-10 UCF. Just how lopsided it's been and how Temple has not been able to rev the engines offensively. The last 30 snaps of the game have all been played on one side of the field, and that's the side where UCF is kicking right now. Good field position and perhaps more imminent here as Freddie Johnson turns it up to the 47-yard line.
And a nice return there to gain that field position we were talking about.
Before Temple goes on offense, let's take a look at our All-State all-hands-in play and revisit UCF and Traquan Smith.
Just a supreme effort after going out of bounds, reestablishing himself. The legal catch, climbs the ladder with the left hand, all hands in. That was one hand in for Traquan Smith. 4 targets, 3 receptions for 67 yards this afternoon.
Great hands for the guy who's got the 4th most touchdown catches in FBS this year. Nice pocket for Newtile. His throw for Chris Myrick goes wide.
To me, it just looks like in an effort by offensive coordinator Dave Patenaude to make it easy for a young quarterback, this offense is running some routes that aren't getting off the line of scrimmage. They're 5, 8 yards, 6 yards, 10 yards, and they're playing into the hands of a team that can move with quickness on defense.
Keith Kirkwood, a redshirt senior from Neptune, New Jersey, is the injured Temple player along the near sideline. Even though being down 21 points, Newtile is a confident guy. We talked to him yesterday. He told us about his preparation, and his head coach, Jeff Collins, told us about conversations they would have even when Logan Marshy was named the starter coming out of camp this year. Of course, that was disappointing for Newtile, but he would go into Collins' office and say, look, I know I'm ready. I know I'm the guy. And it wasn't to undercut Marshy in front of him, but to say, when my time comes, coach, you can count on me.
Well, I think every position should be that way, and especially a quarterback, because you have a responsibility not only to uphold your job, but it's a responsibility for your entire offense and your entire team, because everybody's looking at you to be the leader.
So this game, a little bit of role reversal from what it was last year for Temple as they won on the last second to keep their hopes alive to get to the American Championship game. This year, they're going for bowl eligibility, but the stakes are bigger for UCF, trying to remain undefeated, heading toward a showdown with USF next weekend. Pentel Bryant makes the catch there. And now it's 3rd down and 5.
Temple needs to find a way to convert here on 3rd down. They may be in 2-down territory.
Well, they've crossed midfield. They give it to David Hood. He's brought down to the 45-yard line, so 4th and 2. You go for it?
I think so. You have to. It's 30-10. There's 1:33 left to go before halftime.
UCF gets the ball in the 3rd quarter.
You've had some success on 4th and short, especially early in the game.
Newtile, 4th down. Got to make a good decision. His throw is short. And a cutback. It's enough yardage for a 1st down. Ventel Bryant took a squiggly route to get there. He had it, he cut back, he lost it, and then gained it again, 1st down.
Mike, those are the plays where offensive coordinators, and I can hear Dave Patnute in the bench, yes, no, where are you going? And then he gets back to north and south and moves the chains on 4th down.
Inside of a minute, they've got to be efficient here. A one-hopper falls short of the redshirt junior Bryant.
Well, it just looks like Frank Newtile is just aiming that football, not letting it go today. I think he just needs one throw to just let it go. He's made some nice touch passes. He's extended some plays, but on the easy ones, it just looks like he's trying to aim it instead of just get that right foot planted and sling that thing outside.
It's a little bit opposite of the scouting report that comes in for him, is usually a very catchable ball. Here comes pressure on a 4-man rush. Looking for that deep throw. Incomplete at the goal line. Novell Clark thought he might have been able to come up with yet another takeaway.
Well, Newtile tries to let one go down the field, and it's just slightly underthrown. A little bit too much air. If that ball's out in front, they've got a chance at 6 points. Ellick was waiting for the ball, and also waiting there was Clark.
Third down and 10. He goes across the middle. Tough ball at the 20-yard line, and Kirkwood not injured. Man strength for a gain of 17.
And a player that was injured a couple of plays ago makes a strong catch over the middle.
They spike it here on 1st down. They've only got 1 timeout left. Had to burn 2 of them in the 1st quarter.
What a nice route, and allowed to get inside. He gains leverage, and then the strong hands through the catch. Mike Hughes was fighting the whole way down to the ground, but Kirkwood, the 5th-year senior, able to come down with a big reception on senior day.
And Hughes, no easy corner to beat. Widely regarded as one of the best defenders for the Knights. Down to 26 seconds. UCF drops 8. It's the check down for Hood. Scrambling toward the sidelines.
Hood very alert to get out of bounds with only 18 seconds remaining and 1 timeout. I was surprised there on 2nd down. Wide side of the field, Adonis Jennings had man coverage, got a step versus press coverage. Gets that coverage again, that look again. I would expect for Jeff Collins and his young quarterback to maybe throw the football up on a fade route to the outside.
Got some good height. Each of their top 4 wide receivers 6'2" or taller. Multiple flags come in.
Start. Offense, number 53, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's on Leon Johnson, the redshirt senior.
Little confusion on personnel on 3rd and long now for the Owls, as Isaiah Wright comes back into the game.
They've got Bryant, Jones, Kirkwood, Wright, ready to receive. Short throw for Hood. 1 timeout left. They're going to have to take it.
Take it with 4 seconds left and try to get out of here with a field goal opportunity.
Timeout, Temple. Their 3rd and final timeout.
Well, don't forget, plenty more college football on the slate today. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. Number 11 USC hosting UCLA at the Coliseum. A couple of great future first-round quarterbacks going at it in this one. Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold. You can also see this game live on the ESPN app. And this is a game where NFL teams are going to say, hey, who do we like here head-to-head?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. A lot of touchdowns. I think Rosen now finally healthy, and Darnold need to improve his play in the red zone.
Temple will try and end the half on a high note, a 41-yard attempt. Great penetration by UCF. Didn't get there, but the field goal did. So 2 for 3 on kicks for Brumeri in the first half. And Temple does squeeze a little bit out of that drive to make it 31-13. For UCF in control, though, very much so, powered by their defense. They're the highest scoring offense in the country, and they've looked like it even here on the road. Coming up, our halftime report. Take you a look around the country. Knights are cruising in Philly, and our halftime report comes your way right after these messages. College football from Philadelphia on ESPNU is brought to you by Vizio. The #1 scoring team in the land, one of 4 undefeateds remaining. UCF with a 31-13 lead over Temple on its senior day. And it's been business as usual for UCF. 29 points a game at half. They're over that right now, holding opponents to about 11 points per half. Mike Cousins and John Congemi, glad to have you here with us back on a little bit of a warmer day than usual here in Philly. Here comes Mike Hughes on the return for UCF. Escapes an arm tackle and comes up just shy of the 30-yard line. John, let's take a look at our Taco Bell game track. 7-3 after 1 quarter, but UCF 3 takeaways have been huge to help power their scoring.
I think that's the story of the game. 3 takeaways into 17 points, and when UCF offensively can run 18 of their 34 plays inside the Temple 30-yard line, you're going to get a lopsided score at halftime, and that's exactly what we have here.
And we haven't had to see Mackenzie Milton try too many explosive plays, deep throws, because of the short fields that UCF has been working with. It's Adrian Killens on first down.
Killens is one of those guys that you're just waiting to explode, and Scott Frost in this offense, you're right, they haven't had to go downfield because of the proximity of where they've started their drives.
Snelson comes in motion. And that pass to the sideline, incomplete, intended for the freshman Gabriel Davis. Killens just a sophomore, as is Milton, with him there at quarterback in the backfield, part of a young and talented base for UCF. One of the things that Scott Frost really loves about this group, they are built for the long term. Incomplete on 3rd and 11. Looking for Snelson again.
That was a good job battling for the football down the field. Good coverage. The one thing I do like about Mackenzie Milton, he gives opportunities to his receivers to come up with the football. That was just good coverage underneath and over the top by the Owls defense, and you needed to have that in the first set of downs to get the football back and give it back to your offense.
Loudermilk had a celebration-worthy punt as he booted one away with about 3 minutes to go in quarter number 2. See what he comes up with here from inside his own 20. That's another powerful blast. And he lands it inside the 10-yard line, swinging for the fences, and for good reason. 62 on the punt from Loudermilk.
We had a 69-yard punt last week against UConn. This one goes for 62, and personally, I think he's overworked already in the second half. He's usually good for one punt a game. But Loudermilk, one of those guys I believe the team rallies around. Normally kickers are guys that stay to themselves. I don't think Mac has a problem showing his emotion and being one of the guys.
I think it might be a battle between him and, on the other side, Temple fullback Nick Sharga for best hair in this game. Sharga's in there coming out of the backfield on first down. Newtile had nowhere to go with it and just tried to shuffle his way forward. As Jemias Pittman, Tristan Hill, a couple of those 300-pounders along the defensive line sandwiched him. There's Sharga's here. I'm going to give the edge to Loudermilk.
Yeah, I think Loudermilk has it. And I think for Temple, in this second half to get back into the game, Frank Newtile is going to have to shake off the ghost he's seeing in the defense of UCF. I don't think that his eyes are in the right spots. He's not feeling and anticipating windows to throw the football. I think he's just seeing a whole lot of white jerseys running around right now.
Handoff for Armstead. Gain of about 2. So how does that happen? How do you gain confidence, especially when you're down big?
You have to go back to your being disciplined as a quarterback. Go through your reads, go through your progression, and not really jump from 1 to 3 and not guess. If you see something open, get rid of it. Just go out and start playing a little bit more with a sense of urgency. I think sometimes when you're struggling, you hold the football. When you hold the football against a defense like this, they can cover ground and make those windows close very quickly.
Here comes pressure. He has to throw it way high overhand for Kirkwood. Was forced off his mark there. Tony Garrad, the defensive end, providing some pressure. 4th and 7 now, and here comes the punt team.
And with that Loudermilk punt, UCF flips the field. They're going to get great field position with one of their best players in Mike Hughes waiting for the punt.
Alex Starzyk, the senior from New York. About 41 yards a punt for him this year from his own end zone. Hughes lets it bounce, and it sits inside the 50-yard line, so plus territory where UCF's offense takes over. But the big story today for this high-scoring team has been the defense.
3 takeaways, and it turns into 17 points, and it starts with the linebacker. Shaquan Burkett gets his hands on the football. He's tracking David Hood the entire way. Gets a tackle for loss. Go to the other side of the defense on the inside. Pat Jasinski, reading the eyes of Frank Newtile, comes up with his first interception of the season. And then Shaquem Griffin. He was all over the field for the Knights defensively, pressuring the young quarterback in the pocket, stripping the football away and forcing a fumble that was recovered by the other linebacker, Titus Davis. So all 4 linebackers involved in that first half.
It's the second week that we've had the privilege of watching UCF in person, and it becomes more and more evident that not only is this defense talented, but what the front 3 guys do helps make life easier for everybody behind them.
They have big bodies up front, and those linebackers roam free to make plays.
Now Milton forced out by the front 4 for Temple. Scampers past the sticks. That should be a first down.
Again, no hesitation from Mackenzie Milton. When things break down or he doesn't like what he sees, he's athletic enough to get outside of the pocket and take advantage of what that defense has provided, not only today but the entire season.
17 points off those turnovers today, proven to be really the difference maker here. Without those 17, you got a 1-point lead for UCF. Jordan Franks, 3rd time he's been targeted today, his 2nd catch.
Well, normally the quarterback and the offense, they get all the accolades and all the praise for scoring all these points, close to 50 points a game, but this defense has done their part today. 3 turnovers, setting up 17 points and winning the field position battle for the majority of this game.
Couple of cuts, open space inside the 20. And it's Anderson cut down at the 5-yard line. He runs for 32. They have trusted this freshman in back-to-back weeks, and he has not let them down.
All right, Mike, what are we calling Otis Anderson? Do we have a position for him yet? He's running back here. He was flanked out for most of the game. Wherever he lines up and has his hands on the football, he's been so productive for this offense.
He's positionless but talented no matter where he goes. Frank's the tight end off to the right side. Killens gets the carry and gets nothing. So in the red zone so far today, you've seen Milton run for a touchdown. Seen a nice stretch by Gabriel Davis for a touchdown. Have they been more effective run versus pass?
No, I just think they're lining up and they're going to spread you out by formation, and that allows the zone read to really hit home with Mackenzie Milton. He's able to give it to Killens, or if the end crashes, he's able to keep the football and run it himself.
Snelson in motion. He's got a touchdown today. Looking for number 2 here. There's a flag down as the ball rolls away from him out of bounds, and 3 flags come in at the point of contact.
I think you're going to get called for a pick on one of them.
Pass interference, offense, number 4, 15-yard penalty, second down.
It's Traquan Smith, the team's leading receiver.
Anytime you're trying to run a rub play, that's what the offense is going to call it. It's not a pick. If you're the wide receiver, you can't extend your hands. You can't extend your arms and look like a block. You have to run through it, and I think that's what the officials caught Traquan Smith on the edge doing.
Smith, a prolific target himself as well. 4th most touchdowns in college football.
If I'm UCF, I give him another chance man-to-man. I go to Smith right now over the top.
Oh, he's wide open. He breaks away at the start of the play, fends off the defender with his left hand, and he is in from 22 yards out and makes it look easy in the process.
When you try to pressure from the field and disguise it, there has to be a safety that replaces from the middle of the field. And it just looked like Sean Chandler tried to disguise so much that he wasn't able to get over the top of the go route by Smith on the outside. That was the easiest pitch and catch Mackenzie Milton will ever see.
First touchdown of the day for Smith, his 11th of the year. And I know SMU and Memphis are running up the score in the first half. 3 of the leading touchdown catchers in the country come from the American. Anthony Miller at Memphis, Cortland Sutton, and Traquan Smith. You're watching the American Athletic Conference on ESPN. Along with John Congemi, Mike Cousins with you here from Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. UCF up 38-13 over Temple. The Owls trying to become bowl eligible. Uphill battle the rest of the way as UCF with a win could improve to 10-0 and 7-0 in American Conference play. Previous best start for UCF was back in 1988. So you're talking 29 years ago when they opened up 5-0. 9:32 left here in the third. Well, a reminder that our friends at Allstate are making contributions for each extra point and field goal kick. Since 2005, Allstate has donated millions in scholarship funds. Certainly a couple high-scoring games with lots of field goals and extra points today, both between Memphis and SMU, and between these two teams as well.
I think Scott Frost is feeling pretty good on his sideline, the way his offense responded when the defense set the table with field position, and the way they've gotten after the young quarterback for Temple, Frank Newtile, today.
Wildcat look with Isaiah Wright. We've seen him run out of this formation. We've seen him throw as well. Line was ready to go off to the left, and so is he. Team's third leading rusher a year ago breaks away down the sideline. Flag at the end of the play as he was knocked out by Pat Jasinski, the linebacker.
good direct snap, a late flag coming in that may bring this.
Holding. Offense. Number 88. 10-yard penalty. Result of the play, first down.
The play would have stood for 29 yards, but Brandon Mack gets called on the outside for a hold, and a well-designed play on first down when your offense is struggling. Try to get it directly to your playmakers, and that playmaker is Isaiah Wright.
Dave Patnode is a creative offensive coordinator. They ran a little trickery last week on a 2-point conversion against Cincinnati last year, where he was at Coastal Carolina at the end of his 5-year tenure. He worked with 7 different quarterbacks. Ended up with one who also happened to be a baseball player for Coastal. First down and 10, and this play not successful either. Let's go to the studio and check in with Chris Cotter.
All right, guys, Miami's in big trouble at home against Virginia. Kurt Benkert is having a huge game. 18 of 19, 288 yards, and 4 touchdowns. This one to Daniel Ham puts the Hoos up 14. Miami has just come back to score pending the extra point, so they're back in it on ABC.
Wow. Well,
sounds like one of those games that Miami's going to win on the last play.
On the week where you thought, hey, this could be the 3rd straight week in a row for Miami to come up with something big. And perhaps not the case. They'll need to salvage it. Into one-on-one coverage. It's another turnover. Griffin's got it. Coming the other way. His big day continues. And he stops shy of midfield. Shaquem Griffin let no obstacles stand in his way. His entire life. He said, don't tell me what I can't do. Rather, let me show you what I can do. He comes up with the pick. Back the other way. UCF in control in the 3rd.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Sam Adams. Fill your glass. And Axe, find your magic.
Adidas had that ad campaign 2 years back, Impossible is Nothing, with Muhammad Ali on the poster. I think they should replace Ali with Shaquem Griffin, who had that interception.
He's had a wonderful game and a wonderful season. 3 tackles, the interception, a forced fumble, a tackle for loss. He's been all over the field for the Knights.
They run it, and remember, he's a linebacker here in coverage going to get this.
Well, he's down the seam, almost out to the numbers, and he turns into the wide receiver. He had great coverage on Isaiah Wright. Remember, Griffin was a safety turned linebacker, so the one thing he could do is run down the field.
Milton zip lines it in and out of the hands of Marlon Williams, incomplete. And the interception return there went for 22 yards. That's longer than any Temple completion today.
Athletes. They have athletes on offense, on defense, on special teams, and it's one of those things where UCF, not only are they dangerous in the open field, but I think along the line of scrimmage, they've been really good since the start of the 2nd quarter.
They're in 3rd and 9 here, but 3rd and any distance has not been insurmountable for them today. Especially when you're able to get wide open like that. Michael Kalubiali, the tight end, just his 7th catch of the year.
Mike, that's just a mistake in coverage. That goes for 35 yards on 3rd and long, and it's too easy. You've got great protection in the pocket. You've got a wide open receiver. There has to be a bust in coverage when that happens. UCF knocking at the door again inside the 20-yard line for their head coach, Scott Frost.
So Milton continues to shred the defense. Cordarian Richardson, the freshman from Memphis, gets his 2nd carry of the drive.
USF on offense reminds me of that when you get a chance to play with a pro golfer and you go, well, he was okay. What did he shoot? Well, he shot 66. They make it look so easy. They just get to their number of 48, 49, 50 points a game.
Turning outside, it's a leaping grab Williams. Flag down as he's wrestled toward the first down marker. We got so used to quick calls today. Now Tracy Jones building the suspense. Just going to make sure and check what down it'll be here.
There's no foul for offensive pass interference. The result of the play is a first down.
Top of the screen, last series, they were called for offensive pass interference on a rub play. Here this time, it looks like Traquan Smith keeps that lower body moving and the arms moving like he's trying to run a route, which allowed Williams to get open on the flat route.
Do you think the bigger difference was he had the one hand in and the other down, rather on the last one it was two hands
he
out?
He extended both hands in arms, yes.
That entire run collapses under the weight of the defensive ends, Jacob Martin and Sharif Finch, who have gone unmentioned for most of this game after an early sack by Finch.
That was the group that needed to control the game for the Owls defensively. They needed to make Mackenzie Milton feel uncomfortable in the pocket. And since the first quarter, Milton's had his way with throwing the football.
Well, it's youth on display again. A sophomore quarterback, a freshman running back, and on the rollout, throw to a cutting receiver, diving to the pylon, and that's a touchdown for a freshman, Marlon Williams. Last week had his first career touchdown, and this week racks up his second as UCF's lead grows to 44-13.
Well, earlier we saw Gabriel Davis extend for a touchdown. Now Marlon Williams, does he get in? Yes, he does. Great effort against three Owl defenders. Speed to the pylon, and then the extension of the ball gets him in for 6 points.
.531 left in the third. The distribution of the ball and into scoring has been great for UCF. 6 different Knights have found the end zone today. They've got 10-0 in their sights.
There's no question that Josh Rosen is the best.
He has it all. He's got every pitch.
Sam Darnold's ready for the NFL.
Leadership,
right
charisma.
Sam Darnold's been up and down.
But he's got the it factor.
Battle for Los Angeles tonight as number 11 USC can rage against the top 10 of the college football playoff rankings and try and sneak its way a little bit higher. Already champs of the Pac-12 South. In the North, it's a 3-team race, but Washington State certainly does control their destiny there, just needing to beat Washington next week in the Apple Cup to make it into the Pac-12 title game.
USC trying to get their 10th win of the season. For UCLA, Josh Rosen finally healthy. Should be a great shootout tonight.
Temple football, they'll get it at the 22 after the kick return. Right now, let's take a look at our Jared Galleria of Jewelry Drive recap.
Well, it's been an explosion of points for UCF. They've done it in a number of different ways, but no pressure in the pocket. I think that's the biggest thing for Mackenzie Milton. He's had a lot of time to look around and find his playmakers, and he found a new one in Marlon Williams, who extends the football, hits the pylon for 6 points, and continues this offensive explosion.
Set up by that 35-yard pass to the tight end, Kalubi Ali. Isaiah Wright with the Wildcat snap. Trying to run things here. Is this just trying to find something different on offense?
I think so. You know, you've tried to throw the football. You've tried to find some explosive plays in the passing game, and you want to get it to your playmakers, and if you can't complete throws with consistency, you might as well snap it to them on first down and try to get some positive yards that way.
24 points off of turnovers today for UCF, helping them climb toward their season average of just under 49 points a game, which puts them first in college football. David Hood, once again, just one of 2 scholarship running backs left here on the roster right now late in the season for Temple. 5-5 in conference play, playing for bowl eligibility here today, which would get them eligible for the 4th straight year. Big for Coach Collins in year number 1. He was a little bit emotional coming into this game with his first senior day as a head coach, and just understanding how big the seniors were for his program, especially helping a guy get his feet underneath him as a head coach, making the jump from being a defensive coordinator.
Well, taking over for Matt Rule, you've got guys that you don't have a whole lot invested in recruiting, but all of a sudden you fast forward and you've got a lot invested in being their head coach and getting that, continuing that culture and creating your own culture for your program.
New Tile with time, able to find a man along the sideline. It's Keith Kirkwood. So around the league today, SMU and Memphis just tearing it up. Memphis up 38-31. They can win the West, either a win today or next week against ECU. South Florida was up 27-20 as the final score against Tulsa on Thursday night. That was a game that was a little bit surprising, a home game. There's a deep shot and incomplete, because you expected that the high-scoring offense with Quentin Flowers and USF against Tulsa, which has played close games this year, but has come out on the wrong end of a lot of them, would have made it a bigger game. USF goes up 21-7 in that game, and then in the second half, 3 points for one side, 3 for the other, and the Bulls hold on.
And I think USF may have fallen into that trap where they're looking ahead to play UCF in that last game. You know, you have a comfortable lead, you feel like you're going to win, you want to put it in cruise control and get to that most important game on your schedule, which is next week.
Second down and 10 after the deep shot. Knights bring pressure, and a short pass is the answer to Ventel Bryant. Richard Jr. out of Tampa.
Bryant looked like he got bent at the end of that play, holding his right knee, his right leg.
So a timeout for the injury with 3:04 left here in the third. Ventel Bryant getting helped off the field after a leg injury. 45-13 our score here back in Philadelphia. If you're queasy, you may want to look away for the next couple seconds.
Yeah, this is not good at the end of this play when a couple of defenders bring Bryant down to the ground and he immediately grabs for that leg that was bent underneath 2 defenders.
Bryant the junior out of Tampa, Florida. An important part of this team's receiving core. Can't imagine just from watching that we'd see him back on the field today.
No.
So third down and 5. Fourth career start today for Newtile, who's faced a lot of pressure, sees it again. Pass incomplete as he wanted the crossing Jennings. So fourth down and 5. The offense does not seem to be making a move.
Everything just seems a little bit off offensively for Temple. The timing, the spacing, a little bit off for head coach Jeff Collins in trying to get their seniors to 6 wins this season. Still have that opportunity next week, Tulsa, on the schedule for the last game of the season for both teams. Regular season.
4th and 5, here they go. Scoreboard necessitates it. And Joey Connors, the redshirt junior out of Powder Springs, Georgia, shows power as he ends the Temple possession.
Well, that's just strength and a bull rush right up the middle by Joey Connors. He's going to be able to lock in and just drive the pocket in the lap of Frank Nutile on fourth down. Temple trying to get something done, trying to stay on the field offensively, but this is just a bull rush. 91 in white. Connors just able to push Picozzi, the guard, in the lap of Frank Nutile.
And with a change of possession, we get a change of quarterbacks as well. Noah Vedral, who threw a touchdown pass last week, comes in to hand things off to Taj McGowan, the junior running back who gets his first touch of the day, and it's a first down. Vedral, the freshman from Wahoo, Nebraska. John, a town I'm sure you're very familiar with.
That's right. First time I've heard that one. But you know what? This is a great opportunity for some of the young players for the Knights, especially on offense, to get some reps and be able to play.
Snap infraction. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Be able to play some snaps with not a whole lot of pressure on you, but to get yourself on film to evaluate your talent at the end of the year.
Jordan Johnson, the sophomore at center. 21 straight starts for him coming into play today. All around this offense, really both sides, you see the youth is evident everywhere for this squad. Jordan Franks, catch number 3 of the day, takes it to midfield.
Just wasn't enough early for Temple. The game couldn't have started any better for the Owls. They had field position, they had opportunities to score points, but then the turnovers really turned the table for UCF. The defense set up the offense, and the offense took advantage, and that's where we're at right now at 45-13.
Back at the point where it was 31-13, it was 17 points off of turnovers just at that point. Vedral sidesteps his way toward the sideline, and there's a flag that comes in at the end of the play. Official without his hat on as well to signify a receiver out of bounds. Emmanuel Logan Green, the freshman, was the target for Vedral.
There was no foul for illegal touching. The receiver was forced out by the defender. Third down.
That'll bring up third and very long for the Knights offensively. Ball at the 50-yard line, and a good opportunity for Vedral to come in and protect the football. You may see him even float to the wide side of the field where he has 4 receivers.
Capable passer, first team All-State in Nebraska last year, threw for more than 2,000, ran for 700 more. 3rd and 15, uses the legs to escape to safety, and it's 4th down. But Vedral, it's a Wahoo, Nebraska. You might be wondering about that, right?
Yes.
Well, it's named for the eastern Wahoo. It's a shrub indigenous to the area along the Wahoo Creek. So,
Mike, I've been wanting to know that information for a long time.
Well, John, it strikes me that you may not have access to Wikipedia in that case. Because I'm not that much smarter than you.
Yes, you are.
Also home to Bears tight end Zach Miller. So,
yes,
at least one pro out of there.
I just think
we're on punt celebration watch right now.
Mac's been way overworked today.
He's gone golf swing. He's gone home run
yard
swing
with everything.
So we got a flag down.
Maybe delay of game.
And he's checking out the turf there.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th game.
That was the spot just inside the 40-yard line where the grounds crew in the first quarter was fixing a divot that had been left earlier in the game. So just trying to get his footing set. Celebration worthy here, you say, landed inside the 20.
I think he's going inside the 10 here.
Inside the 20, 16, 17-yard line. So, no celebration. Milk's still a good choice, though. Scott Frost, biggest name in college coaching circles over the last several weeks, the storm has just picked up more and more. Newspaper in Nebraska last week sent a reporter to cover the UCF game and the Frost coaching story in Orlando. Will it be Nebraska, his alma mater, where he was a national champion? Tennessee, where Butch Jones is getting paid $8 million not to coach anymore? Could it be Florida? And perhaps the answer is
staying
none of
at home.
those.
That's right.
19 seconds left here in the third. Temple goes to the ground down 45-13. So as we've hit on over the course of the third quarter, the youth is so important to the success of this team for UCF.
Well, they've got a sophomore quarterback, a sophomore running back, 3 sophomores and freshmen at wide receiver. A lot of playmakers are coming back for head coach Scott Frost.
So he's got a lot to think about. Still a quarter in front of him. His team's having fun. They got the lead on the road. Why leave when things are so good? Number 15 undefeated UCF certainly look like they're going to stay that way, outscoring Temple 14-0 in the third quarter. Scott Frost, Jeff Collins, who spent some time earlier in his career in Orlando, 2008-2009, the recruiting coordinator there, responsible for some of the best success that school has had, helping to build the framework for their Fiesta Bowl championship team. David Hood with the run gets the fourth quarter started.
I think this is a time on defense for UCF to see some new players. We saw that on offense on the last couple of series. Now it looks like the entire linebacking core, the front 3, have changed in and out, and Scott Frost getting a look at some of the youth that backs up some of the youthful players that start for him.
We got a flag before the third down snap.
Timeout, Temple. That first charge timeout. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
Well, given the score here in the fourth quarter, it might seem far-fetched, but Scott Frost and UCF, they were worried about this game, viewing it as a potential trap before next week's season finale against USF. But they have had a commanding lead just about all day, and they look for a stop here on 3rd down and 2 after a Temple timeout.
I think he had reason for concern only because Temple had been playing their best football of the season over the last 3 weeks.
Scoring was up. Passing totals were great for Newtile, who's got 3 rushers bringing pressure. Now 4. He gets his throwaway, and this one is incomplete, 4th and 2. And to just about every extent that UCF wanted to, they executed their game plan very well.
They were able to withstand Temple's offensive opportunities in the first quarter with field position. They were able to force field goals instead of giving up touchdowns, and that allowed their offense to catch up. And when the field flipped towards the Knights and their advantage in offense, they took full advantage of getting into the end zone with touchdowns.
Starzik's punt out of bounds. We'll look at our college football playoff rankings brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Not too big tests for the top 2 teams this week. 56 and 58 nothing the leads for Bama and Clemson. But how about Miami and Virginia? That one has been interesting all afternoon.
Miami finally takes their first lead in this game, and the big question for me is that Oklahoma on the road at Kansas, if they put it on the Jayhawks, is there a change? Is there a flip between 3 and 4 in the rankings? Just because of Miami, if they hold on and win, they struggle a little bit with all the other teams in that top 4 really winning handily.
I think there's a question perhaps about number 5 as well, with Wisconsin right now having the lead over Michigan. That's another top 25 team. As to, was a victory maybe not convincing enough
offense
for Miami?
73, 5-yard penalty, second down.
If indeed that's the way that game plays out in favor of the Hurricanes. And that's been a point of contention for UCF fans as well, going up against Wisconsin. Now, the strength of schedule is where they get hurt a little bit, but keep in mind they had a game against Georgia Tech get wiped away because of the Hurricanes that were with us during the start of college football season. But outside of that, pretty favorable comparisons.
And when we talked to head coach Scott Frost last night about that opportunity, he said, yeah, it was a missed opportunity, but our guys had to play consecutive weeks in a row, and at the end of the year, your team gets a little beat up, a little tired. You know, you're giving it all you have, but all you have might be a little less than it was in week 4, week 5, and week 6 when you were rolling pretty good. So this is a time where the Knights have to fight through this. They come out, which looks like on top easily in this game against Temple, and then find a way to get back to where they were hitting on all cylinders when they play the most important game.
Number 68, penalties decline, 4th down.
Frost told us they used some creative metaphors to keep the team engaged and upbeat this week, just to make sure that, as you mentioned, not having that bye week there later in the season, which really might have helped rest some weary legs, heal some injuries, allow players to recuperate. Having to go 3 straight months almost toward the end of the season to make that final push and stay undefeated is no easy task.
Well, not only physically, Mike, mentally staying sharp, mentally staying at a level where you're undefeated and you're trying to execute at the optimum.
Loudermilk gets it away. Isaiah Wright crossing the field. Flag comes in. That stops at the 24-yard line.
During the kick, holding, receiving team, number 81, 10-yard penalty, 1st down, timeout.
ESPN College Football is presented by Vizio, maker of award-winning 4K displays, and in part by Dr. Scholl's.
Senior day at Lincoln Financial Field, saying goodbye to this class. Nick Sharga, the fullback, one of those. Big family, big party today. He's one of 11 kids, so all 10 of his siblings on hand here to watch his final home game for Temple. That's pretty cool.
That is.
Jeff Collins with his wife welcoming the players onto the field before the game. Yesterday we said, are you going to cry when those players come out? And he goes, I think I'm tearing up a little bit now just thinking about it.
You know, it's one of those things where you come in and you get to know your players right away when there's a coaching change, and it grows on you, and you got guys there that are seniors that have been doing things one way for such a long time, and he comes in and tries to embrace that and as well as getting his own things across the way he wants things done.
Newtile with a heave down the middle of the field, and that pass is caught. It's Adonis Jennings, and he is into the end zone from 74 yards out. A desperately needed strike for Temple.
Adonis Jennings, I think the experience of the senior fending off a freshman safety in Antoine Collier. He gets away with a little bit of a push to get separation at the end of this play and plays the ball beautifully. Collier just misses with the left hand, and Jennings able to jog into the end zone for an easy touchdown.
So down 45-19, every point crucial here. The offense stays on the field. Going to try it for 2. Nutile limited options on the rollout. Slices his way back and throws too tall for a double covered Keith Kirkwood in the back of the end zone. The Owls on senior day hoping it's not too little too late. 74 yards, one cut. He's gone. Adonis Jennings seal it. Eastern tomorrow on ESPN. Get your Week 11 NFL Sunday started right. Breaking stories, injury updates, and a preview of each game, taking you right until kickoff. Sunday NFL Countdown. And some big games this week. Eagles, best record in the league, going to Dallas. Seahawks and Falcons. Monday night, Minnesota and Los Angeles. Should be a high-scoring affair. The battle for the Sunshine State.
How about that? Tampa
Dolphins
Bay.
and Bucks.
That's right. Down at Hard Rock Stadium. That should be a good one on Sunday afternoon.
Touchdown for Temple. Failed two-point conversion. 45-19. Under 12 minutes. The attempt at the onside kick. I don't know if that went 10 yards.
There was no signal on the field for a penalty or illegal touching.
No, but it looked
like he touched the football between 9 and 10 yards before it crossed 10 yards.
The ruling on the field is illegal touching by the kicking team on the 44-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10, UCF from there.
I don't know about you. I never saw a flag, but it was pretty clear to the naked eye that the ball was touched 9 yards after the kick.
You're right. I didn't see the penalty marker as well, but it was definitely touched around 9 yards right there. A little more patience and you've got the onside kick. Yeah,
I think it caught UCF off guard enough that had the ball gone 10 yards just on its own,
easy recovery,
Temple would have had it. So the offense stays in the hands of Noah Vedral. An offense that has not had to work all too hard today because of what the defense has been able to do, helping yield 24 points off of 4 Temple giveaways. And that's Taj McGowan. So Vedral in there at quarterback. That now makes the 6th time in 10 games that Mackenzie Milton, the starter at quarterback, will not have played in the 4th quarter. And so when folks talk about, well, why isn't UCF ranked higher in the college football playoff rankings? This is part of what they're talking about. There's a measure that ESPN uses as a statistic, game control. How much do you dominate the opponent? This is the epitome of that here for UCF.
When your starting quarterback doesn't play in the 4th quarter, you are winning the game handily. That's for certain.
All knocked down on the pass by the middle linebacker, Sean Bradley.
And Mike, something tells me that we're not going to see Vedral in the game in the 4th quarter next week in the showdown against South Florida.
You willing to make an early handicap on that game and
getting to
see how things might go?
Getting to see UCF 2 weeks in a row and how easily they can score and how many athletes they have, I would have to go with the favorite.
Which would be the undefeated 10-0 Knights. So Vedral takes off here, slips through some tackles. It looks like he's got a first down there on 3rd and 10. So if you go with that line of thinking, especially from what we saw from the linebackers today for the Knights, the great speed, the ability to step in front of passes, read the quarterback's eyes, that'll be huge against Quentin Flowers.
I think where South Florida is going to have problems is finding passing lanes and finding opportunities down the field. Not that UCF is going to dominate.
The play is the first down.
Not that they're going to dominate in that fashion, but I just think that Quentin Flowers is going to have to be very accurate down the field with the football, keeping drives alive and using his feet to move the chains as well.
So Tracy Jones, the referee, says first down, and the chain gang obliges. 1st and 10.
Vedral now using that play clock. They don't want to snap the ball too soon. They want to use as much clock as they can before the snap.
Nice hard tackle there by Delvon Randall, the junior out of Pittsburgh. Come up and make the tackle. Randall, second leading tackler coming into this game, actually jumps into first place on that chart because of the loss of Chappelle Russell, the leading tackler, starting linebacker for this team, out for the second straight season with a late season ACL tear. Very unfortunate for him.
Yeah, only a redshirt sophomore, and he was one of those guys that was sideline to sideline for the Owls on defense.
Second down and 8, reading run all the way. The Owls close the window for Taj McGowan, who had his helmet come off at the end of the run.
Sam Franklin, one of the other linebackers coming from the field on a blitz, had a lot of momentum when he got to the ball carrier.
Scott Frost, new dad as of last week. Believe it or not, I'm going to have to check with you.
Okay.
Being the dad in the booth. He said he only lost about an hour per night of sleep with a newborn in the house for the first full week.
That sounds terrific.
Pretty remarkable stat there.
That's right.
Vedral goes back, tries to go forward, and can't wind anything further. Stopped at the 40-yard line. So you're saying an hour is quite abnormal?
I think so. I think so. But you know what? Football coaches, they don't sleep a whole lot anyway. So that goes into consideration.
I think if you're a pro football player, as both you and Frost were, or a football coach, you have married a saint.
That's true.
Right?
Yes, that's a given.
The amount of time spent on the road, away from home, recruiting. Speaking of which, not a hard pull to get Vedral, the quarterback, native of Nebraska from Wahoo. Frost, native of Nebraska himself, played quarterback there.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, fourth down.
So, of course, the Nebraska fans say, hey, here's the guy we want, the hero, the 1997 co-national champion. But then there's the other side of that argument, too. He's already the hero there. Does he need to go back and try and be the savior as well?
Now that's something you really have to consider, and how much you want to go back somewhere where you already have a legacy, you've already made your name, and do you want to go back and not risk that, but expose that to not only yourself but your family?
Loudermilk, second straight punt, drops it inside the 20-yard line.
You know, as a quarterback, it was always fun to watch Scott Frost play the position because he had toughness. You knew he can run the option. You knew he found a way, especially in the red zone, to get into the end zone and make the Cornhuskers what they were offensively, and that's national champions with him at the helm. And you want to get back there as a coach. You want to be able to be in that conversation, and I think that's what Scott Frost has right now at UCF. They're in that conversation, but how legitimate is it when you're moving from 18 to 15? How much do you have to do as a school and a university to be considered with the heavyweights in college football?
Gain of about 8 there for Newtile. The difficult part for UCF, and you look at a team like Wisconsin, as we compared the numbers earlier, there's so much tradition for Wisconsin, whereas for UCF, it didn't exist until the late 1960s. They didn't play football there until 1979, and they weren't at this level of football until 1996. You just don't have that tradition. Incomplete pass there, which is really big when it comes to thinking about the power of a team and their perceived measure of strength or weakness.
It is, and it's something you have to consider where you're going to have a chance. And we talked about the youthfulness of this team. We talked about their opportunities in the AAC where they can be a dominant football team for not only a year, but in years to come with what Frost has built here in such a short time.
Third down, it's Rich Ravato, a redshirt junior fullback from Westchester, PA, with the run. Make sure you tune in to SportsCenter, 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 Pacific on ESPN. Mel Kiper will break down NFL prospects at quarterback in tonight's game on ABC. We'll take a look at the impact of the college football playoff race. And James Harden on a roll. SportsCenter, Linda Cohn, Kevin Connors on ESPN and the ESPN app. So first down and 10. It's another Rich Ravato run who gets the try here. We've seen Sharga, we've seen Rich Ravato, Armstead, Hood, and Trayvon Williams. So it's been a busy day in the backfield for Temple as they have struggled this afternoon here on their senior day to find the right success on offense.
Boy, and they really had a chance early, too, in this football game, the way that they were able to shorten the field. But they had to settle for field goal opportunities, and that just does not cut it when you're playing an explosive offense like UCF.
A few more scrambles for Newtile, who's been on the run a little bit more than he'd like, than the offense would like today.
This is a good learning experience for a young quarterback in a game where things didn't look clear for you from the pocket. It looked like the defense was moving a little bit faster than you were prepared for. It looked like there were more white jerseys out there than actually 11, and that will come in time. I think you have to fight through days like today, feel where the defense is, anticipate a little bit more, and that will come. And I think the good thing is you've got some really good games under your belt so far, so now you've got some coaching tape for Jeff Collins and Dave Patton to go back and say, okay, here's when we liked what you did offensively, and here's where you struggled a little bit.
One thing, though, that both head coach and offensive coordinator said about him is he is exceptionally well prepared. Second straight catch for the sophomore Randall Jones.
Yeah, and I think, Mike, it wasn't that Frank wasn't prepared. I think he was prepared in this game. I just believe that he didn't see it clear. There wasn't a clear picture for him. I think the running game ran out, and then you ran a lot of short passes, and it led to your percentage dropping. It led to turnovers in 3. He had some good throws. He had one down the field, had one in the back of the end zone, so there was some stuff to build on there.
He unloads along the sideline, but no control on that catch, thus no possession, and the pass is incomplete. Now the big Sunday slate always feeds into Monday Night Football. Matt Ryan and the Falcons go into Seattle to take on Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. It's an 11-game winning streak on Monday nights for the Seahawks. And on top of that, their defense has been stellar at home. They've allowed all of 44 points at home this year, so a good test for Matt Ryan and company. So at 10-0, UCF going into next week's finale against USF. That'll be perhaps the biggest matchup in I-4 corridor history.
Right.
The Bulls and the Knights separated by just 96 miles, and after USF played Thursday, well, Scott Frost wasn't all too happy with the way the scheduling played out there going into the end of the year, but you're going to have two teams that are a combined 19-1 with the East in the American Conference on the line. Here's single coverage toward the end zone, incomplete from Newtile, looking for Isaiah Wright.
And I think the way this game played out in the second quarter through the third and now the fourth, Scott Frost was able to pull some of those starters out of the game and get his quarterback, get his running backs, get his defensive front and linebackers and corners off the field to give them a couple extra plays of rest, a couple extra quarters of rest for next week's showdown.
You didn't get the bye week, but you did get the fourth quarter.
That's right.
Here this Saturday. 3.5 minutes to go. Nice grab, soft touch there, shown by Yeboah, the redshirt freshman tight end from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Coming into his own this year after playing behind Colin Thompson and Roman Deloach a year ago.
That was a nice catch out on the perimeter. Keeps that drive alive for the Owls.
8 men back in defense, but just one defender there into the end zone. And into the hands of Novell Clark, the nickelback, who lamented so dearly a missed interception opportunity earlier in the day, comes up with the nickel turnover, number 5 on the day for Temple.
That's just a great opportunity for a redshirt sophomore to locate the football, turn back, make the catch in the end zone. The defense has been the story for UCF.
Well, we're ready to give thanks, even though it's not Thanksgiving. Thank you to Ryan Scott, one of our great cameramen who's on this crew each and every week. And to Sam Wilson as well. And Kenny Parsons, enduring the elements, all those guys outside every week. Thank you so much.
Awesome job, guys.
For being a part of the traveling group with us each and every week. We won't all be together next week as basketball season interferes with football season. And it's been a pleasure to be with everyone in this group each and every week. More explosive plays in the arsenal here for UCF. They are not done yet. Emmanuel Logan Green, the freshman from Fort Lauderdale, goes for 46 yards, more than eclipsing his season total with his 5th catch of the year.
Explosive plays. This is what this team does, and they'll need to carry over next week at home against South Florida.
So inside 2:30, they are just a hair short of their scoring average, 49 points a game. So they are not content to rest. And we talked about all the great people we work with, the folks who travel with us, Mark Skipper, Joel Cook, who's up here with us in the booth, working on audio, video, Bruce Garvin, operations. There's a lot of dirty work behind the scenes in TV with Jim Wharton and Haley Phelps doing that, and our production crew as well, led by Eric Posman, our producer, Jason Wald, our director, George Heidkamp, and our production team as well. I think George knows every stat under the sun.
He does. Just ask him. He'll tell you.
Rafi Mejia, Tracy Howe as well, and Eugenio Arana, all part of the crew that helped bring you college football. That's just one game every week.
They do such a great job for us, preparing us for it, getting us through the games each and every week, and it's been a fun season with them.
Chris Allegri and Todd Ferrante and tape as well, and we are assuredly not as smart as we may sound at times, and there are a lot of people going, you never sound smart.
No, that's what they're telling me.
Here goes Vedral. He goes down. Up here in the booth with us as well, our statistician, Joe Sullivan.
Mr. 58.
Yeah, I think that's his nickname. I don't know where that came from, but that's what he showed up with as his nickname. Spotter, Tim Swartz. And helping us get where we need to go every week, Reese Nestler as well, our production coordinator on the road. It takes a lot of people to make a good show every week, and we are grateful for each and every one of them that helps make a great show every Saturday for you at home. Wherever you might be, we're happy to have you with us every week. And just know that this is one show out of so many games that ESPN puts on across so many channels every week. How many people there are traveling the country for the love of sports, the love of college football. Well, they came a little bit shy of their scoring average, 45 points, nothing to pout about. UCF is going to remain undefeated.
Well, this was one of those performances that didn't look great early. UCF and their defense, with all the turnovers that turned into points, helped head coach Scott Frost over Jeff Collins and the Temple Owls today here in Philadelphia.
UCF will have its eye on the College Football Playoff Committee to see how their rankings come out. Will they climb higher than number 15? They jumped 3 spots last week, and the tension for Temple will wait one more week to see if they can become bowl eligible for the 4th straight year and in year number 1 under Coach Jeff Collins. I
think this was one of those games where Temple came out and gave it their best shot early. They played well through 15 minutes, felt like they were in a game, but never could get over the hump of turning touchdown opportunities into field goal chances, and they didn't cash in on the field position early, and I think that's where the tide turned for UCF. They were able to get turnovers, they were able to turn those into points, and now they turn their season one game away from being perfect in the regular season.
So the questions will continue to grow. The headlines will continue to be printed. Will Scott Frost stay or will he go? And he said, you know what? I'm not in a hurry to leave a good situation. Although the good situation today here has ended. There's a plane waiting to take him and his team home to celebrate this victory. And now they can start to look ahead to that final game of the regular season, a showdown against the USF Bulls with the East Division and the American Athletic Conference on the line. Once again, a big thanks to our entire team that has brought you great college football each and every week. My partner, John Congemi, I'm Mike Cousins saying so long from Philly, 45-19. UCF's a winner, and the Knights stay perfect.